Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Welcome to Sports Tonight here on this very, I guess you could say, energetic Thursday.
It's busy. It's busy.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, Ellie. So, first of all, I'm sports producer Scott Pennyman here with the great Ellie Parker.
Let's go.
Coming from behind, the producer for this show now gets in front here, and we always have a lot of fun when it's
when it's two of us.
There's so many things to talk about.
And especially today, you can see the topics on the right side of your screen. Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
And like I was saying here a few minutes ago, I know the presidential debate is taking place around the corner from here tonight at 9 o'clock.
But you have to watch us debate first.
But we have our debate first, okay? So, but this debate will get you warmed up for the real debate. But our debate is coming first. This is what I consider, like, you know how boxing is when they have the main event?
We're the opening card.
Exactly.
We're the first match on the card, baby.
These are the prelims, right? I mean, there's the main event around the corner, everything like that. But, the fans have to sit through the preliminary fights to get there. That's what this is. This is a preliminary fight for the fights tonight. So, but we're not going to fight.
We're not going to fight too much, hopefully.
We're nice here on Sports Tonight. So, first things first, obviously NBA draft last couple of days. They're kind of doing the NFL style now where it's round one on one day, and they get to round
it's
two for
two
the next
rounds.
day.
We don't need to do this.
Look, it's 2 rounds. They have to, look, I understand. It's entertainment. They have to be more dramatic. So that's what they're doing here with the NBA draft. So
it's so annoying.
They see the success that the NFL has with their draft and putting it on a couple separate days. But
that's 7 rounds,
it is.
not 2.
It's just 2 rounds. But look, we'll get to it a little later. This year's second round was a little bit different than past year's second round.
True.
But we'll get to that part in a little bit. But first off, let's start with the Hawks. Last night, number 1 overall pick, they select the Frenchman. Let me make sure I get his name right. Ree-zah-shay.
There you go.
From,
you got it right.
from France. And this is one of those years, Ellie, I know we talked about a lot when we were out there with the Hawks, that this is one of those years where there wasn't a consensus number 1 pick.
So, of course, it's the year that the Hawks get the number 1 pick.
Of course, the year that the Hawks get the number 1 pick. And it's kind of crazy because, obviously you had the young man from Overtime Elite, Alex Sarr, who by most people's standards was going to be the number 1 overall pick, except he didn't really want to work out with the team. And that's something else we're seeing a lot now, right? We're seeing young men get drafted and more so forcing themselves into different situations or positions that's best for their career. So I can't be mad at that. But
now this sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Go for it. What's your conspiracy?
I have seen some perspectives that the Hawks knew they weren't going to pick him anyway. So this whole Alex Sarr didn't work out with the Hawks, et cetera, was his agents taking control of that narrative instead of the Hawks going, well, we weren't going to pick him anyway, so.
Well, of course, who knows, right? I mean, that could be true, but that could also be the Hawks' saving face, because you don't want it to look bad upon your organization if a player says he doesn't want to play there for whatever reason, whether it's fit or whether it's just because he thinks the organization is a trash organization. No matter what the situation is, you don't want that narrative out there. So maybe that's true what you said, or maybe it could be a little spin and they're saying, look, we weren't going to take him anyway, that sort of thing. So nevertheless, they ended up with Ree-zah-shay, who's during the press conference last night, when you watched the Zoom, he compared his own game to Klay Thompson. So, I'm just saying.
But do the Hawks have a Steph Curry?
Well, of course.
No.
Well, they have a guy who was compared to Steph Curry coming out of college, right, and Trae Young. So who knows how? Look,
but he has not shown to match up, at least to me. Which, yes, it's hard to match up to Steph Curry, a top 10 player of all time.
Of course it is.
But it's like,
look, there was some mixed reviews when it came to Ree-zah-shay. So there was a player who played with Ree-zah-shay over in front, or played against him, Frank Mason III, who played college.
That's a name I haven't thought about in a while.
Haven't heard in a while. He was the 2017 College National Player of the Year. So take this for what it's worth, because obviously he's probably mad. Some people may say, well, he's just upset that he isn't in the league right now. So basically, when the Hawks took Ree-zah-shay number 1 overall, This is what Mason said on a post on Twitter or X, post on X. He says, played this young guy in French this past season. No way he's a #1 overall pick in the NBA draft, but I guess. So take that for what it's worth.
You could take anybody in the top 10 and say, you know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everyone, even when you heard from Landry Fields, and we'll hear from Landry Fields in a little while, you even got the sense when you heard from him that this guy was kind of raw. I mean, he's not maybe who knows if he'll be ready to contribute next season. And sometimes that's the problem with the #1 overall pick, because
there's that expectation that you're going to contribute day one.
Exactly.
And sometimes you're not ready.
No. And this may be one of those cases where, and I compared it last night to the 2013 draft where the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Anthony Bennett #1 overall. And
that was going through my mind all night.
Exactly.
Is this going to be an Anthony Bennett situation?
Look, I hope not. But I mean, this draft sort of gives me the feels of that draft. But that draft.
Now, granted, Anthony Bennett should not have been the #1.
Of course not. But according to Frank Mason, neither should Risacher.
I can see Ree-zah-shay more as a #1 overall pick than Anthony Bennett. I know you're a Cavs fan. I'm sorry.
Well, it worked out in the long run because we won a championship 3 years later when LeBron James came back. But I guess you see where I'm going here with this whole thing is the fact that this may be a situation where this young man is not ready to step right in there this year, and it may take a little while. I mean, this is one of those picks that may take a little while because he's very raw. I think he averaged 10 points a game last year, so scoring is kind of raw. But I think they're looking long term and they're going, okay, he has size. He gives us the ability to maybe have a bigger backcourt if he plays the two more at 6'8". It gives us some size and some length on both ends of the floor on that side. So, and he was really excited. You know, as a matter of fact, we're about to hear from him here in a second. He was really excited last night after getting drafted. He's really, really humble kid, and really, I think he's going to work. I think the Hawks have a kid who's going to put the work in to be the best player that he could possibly be. And if he does that, I think they'll be okay.
Sports Director Bailey Burmaster was in New York last night for the NBA draft, and she got to talk to him a little bit after his name was called.
Let's hear from Zachary.
How does it feel to be the first pick in the 2024 NBA draft?
That's amazing. That's really special. That's a dream come true, you know, and you know, just hearing my name and see my family's reaction was something that I will never forget, and I'm so blessed to be a Hawks right now.
As a big wing, what can you bring to this Hawks team?
I can, I feel like I can bring a lot of things. And whatever Coach Snyder want me to do on the court, I'm sure I can do it well, and so can basically can be rebounding, shooting trees, dunk the ball, guard in multiple position, or whatever. I know I will do it good, and I can't wait to figure out what gonna be my role for the next season, and how can I help the team to win, you know, to get the win.
For the people who may not know you, how would you describe yourself as a person?
I feel like I would describe myself like a kind person. I know, like, I'm happy to do basketball for a living. I'm a person who finds joy in life, and that's probably because I had great people around me all my life, and I do what I love for a living, and I feel also like no, that's it. I mean, you know soon who I am. Soon enough. So.
Congratulations, Zachary. Welcome to Atlanta.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, guess not.
So as I stated, I was out with the Hawks last night out at their headquarters. And Landry Fields, you know, like I said, I think he's just being very realistic with the sort of pick they have here as far as Ree-zah-shay, because there's going to be a lot of pressure. Let's just be real. I mean, a guy's taking #1 overall, like you said. There's going to be a lot of pressure for immediate results, immediate dividends to show. And I just have a feeling that this isn't going to be one of these players who's ready to have that sort of contribution from day one.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as, you know, he's not Victor Wembanyama,
No,
example. No one is. No one is. That man is a freak of nature. But, you know, obviously that's going to be the comparison.
Right.
For better or for worse.
And so I want to throw this in, too. The Hawks, in another bit of business today, they traded their first-round pick of a couple years ago, A.J. Griffin. He got traded to the Houston Rockets for a second-round pick today. They did some wheeling and dealing to, you know, and then they did like some more wheeling and dealing too. But the big news out of that is A.J. Griffin, who was their first-round pick just 2 years ago, was traded to the Rockets. And you can sort of see the writing on the wall, because 2 years ago, Griffin got a decent amount of playing time before Quinn Snyder came in. He played 72 games that year. Really, after Snyder came in, I don't know whether it was just he didn't fit Snyder's system.
He was not one of Snyder's guys.
No, he wasn't one of his guys. He was kind of buried on the bench. Last season, only played in 20 games, didn't start any games. So that's another move there. But what that move does is it clears the way for Risacher, who's sort of in that same sort of height range and player range. And for Griffin, the minutes just weren't there, so he can go to Houston and maybe hopefully grow his game for him for the sake of his career. Moving forward, hopefully he'll be able to get on track and have a good career himself. But as for the Hawks right now, Landry Fields last night had a lot of words, seemed very optimistic about the draft pick, Ree-zah-shay. But enough of me. Let's get the general manager, Landry Fields, as he talks about the first-round pick and sort of what's ahead for him and the Hawks for this season.
Obviously, we took Zachary Risacher, which we are thrilled about. You know, he's a guy that we've identified early who's been high up for us from the beginning, and couldn't be more excited to welcome him and his family to Atlanta. So I'm sure there's plenty of questions out there, so I'll happy to answer and jump into those.
Raphael Haynes with the three-point conversion. What stood out with Zachary as far as the pick?
Well, you start just by what you see. 6'10", he's got the ability to play on both sides of the ball, can defend, versatile defender, really, really good shooter and a high IQ type of player. You know, the amount of development that he's had up until this point is fantastic, and he's still only 19. He'll be 19 all throughout next year. And I've consistently said the important qualities for us in the past about those types of players and who we want in this building at the end of the day, and he possesses a significant amount of those. So thrilled to have him.
Landry, where was the separation for Zachary compared to the other guys who were available for you to select? Like, what was it about Zachary that just made him above the rest?
Yeah, it was a long process. There was a lot of good players in this draft, and we considered a lot of different guys. But at the end of the day, when you look and paint the entire picture from the human to his game to some of the projectables that we have from an analytics space, I mean, that's ultimately what won out. Getting a chance to meet him as well, talking with him was great as well. So, I mean, it was close. There's a lot of really good players here. We had a lot of guys that we considered.
One more follow-up on how you narrowed this down. You talked about defense. How important was that specific element of his game in terms of what you guys need? Yeah,
Very important. And it's not just stuff that we see with the potential on the ball. It's the versatility and switching off the ball as well, in the right spots, anticipating well. I think there's other areas that we can continue to develop, and him having the growth mindset that he does and the love for the game is going to make that much easier. So, yeah, defense was really a huge part of all this. That's why I say before, just the total package, things that we can look at offensively and defensively for a well-rounded player.
Landry, you said that you identified him early, that he was a front runner for you guys. So yeah. I guess how early, what stood out about him? And then how was your phone like going off the hook up until the very, second the draft started, or was it pretty quiet?
We got quite a few phone calls, and as we're looking out and we're starting to define and identify the types of players that we do like, it's kind of your early sense and early observations on players put him pretty high, right? And that's just kind of the overview surface level. When you start to dive in deeper with each player, a lot of stuff stayed, and he remained at the top for a long time. The last week or so, we had a few guys that we were still also high on, and then had a lot of debates about each one of those guys, and compare and contrast, and things that we're feeling are very important for us at this point in time. And he ultimately won out.
This is Edwin Powell with the Hawks Beat over here.
Gotcha.
A two-part question. First, what is an area of growth that you would like to see for Zachary to grow in? And secondly, do you see a current, maybe possible NBA comp for him as far as his game is concerned?
I don't necessarily have a comp. It's always an interesting territory to get into. I think that an initial area that we would see is just body improvement. That's going to happen naturally over time, and when we get them into our program and our development system, that will come about more and more. You look at the rookies last year that we drafted to where they're at now. I was standing up here and I was looking at a picture of those three, and I was like, it's quite a transformation in a year. So that's something that we'd initially look at and make sure we have a good plan for him going forward.
Landry over here. How do you envision his role offensively and kind of what he can be short-term, long-term on that end of the floor?
Yeah, it's going to be more so a Quinn question, but some of my takeaways, kind of things that I've said, just a role of being able to be a switch defender, the versatility of moving up and guarding.
All right, so, I don't know how good I am with breaking news, right? So, in one of the most stunning.
In the most stunning development of this year's NBA draft.
One of the most stunning developments that we've seen in the history of sports. Bronny James drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round with the 55th overall pick in a move that I'm sure none of us saw coming.
No one saw this coming.
Absolutely stunning development. After his agent, well, at least depending on what you believe, Bob Myers, the former executive, the former general manager of the Golden State Warriors, came on TV today and said that basically Rich Paul was calling other teams and telling them, look, if you draft Bronny, he's headed to Australia. He's not even going to play for you. So they were working overtime to make sure
he was a Laker.
That he was available for the Lakers with the 55th pick. So look, I guess if you want something so hard to happen, if you're powerful enough, obviously LeBron James, a very powerful player, one of those powerful players the game's ever seen.
He's arguably the most powerful man in the NBA right now.
Either him or Rich Paul, who's, from an agent standpoint, like I say, Rich Paul from my hometown, Cleveland. I know Rich a little bit. Probably one of the more, not probably, the most powerful agent in professional sports right now. When you have those two guys in a room working to make something happen, chances
it's going to happen.
They're going to make it happen. But look, let me say this. Every company in America, major company, Fortune 500 company, has some form of nepotism. Let's just be real.
And I'm just going to be honest. Yes, Bronny James is not particularly good. Do you know what that means? They're going to slap him as the 12th man. He is not going to get a whole ton of playing time. This is not actually the big disaster that people are going to make it out to be.
No, because
LeBron just wants to play with his kid. I'm not going to knock him for wanting to do that.
And let's be honest, most second-round picks on NBA teams don't even make the team anyway. The majority of the guys picked in the second round this year are going to
go to the G League.
They're going to be in the G League. They're going to end up on two-way contracts. They're going to be, some of them are going to be released and playing over in Europe for a year or two. That's just the way things work. But like I was saying before, pretty much every Fortune 500 company has some sort of people moving up the ladder because of family members that were in charge, because of friends they knew who were at the top of a ladder, and they gave him an opportunity to move up. Now, LeBron James and Rich Paul helped Bronny get his opportunity. It's going to be on him with what he does with that opportunity, how he develops as a player, how he continues to grow as a player. That's going to make the difference between what kind of NBA career he has. Yeah, you can have people in place. You can have your dad or powerful agents get you an opportunity, but like anybody else, it's on you what you do with that opportunity. And there's a lot of people, if you read social media right now, there's a lot of people who are upset, like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's
the 55th of 58 picks.
Right, it's the 55th pick, and quite frankly, LeBron James has earned the right to put himself in this situation.
Yeah.
He stayed a great player in the league long enough to be able to have the power to be able to bring his son along on his team. I mean, that's a credit to LeBron James.
Like, if this was Wizards era Jordan, and Jordan was trying to angle to get his kid on the Wizards, I would say, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, some people may say
LeBron is good.
But we've all seen it, though, Ellie. We've all seen people with positions with different companies.
Absolutely.
And we're going, just think about our field, like in broadcasting. Chris Collinsworth, he was on television for many years. He's been on television for many years.
Noah Eagle, for an even more recent example. And Noah Eagle, frankly, as a broadcaster, has been killing it.
Right. So that means that you have to, once you get your opportunity, you have to make the most of it. I mean, just think about how many different broadcasts, like I was saying, Chris Collinsworth's son, he was on NBC or different. Phil Simms was on television, and his son Chris Simms does a show now for NBC and all that stuff. So this has been taking place for years. So I don't want to hear from anybody saying this is unfair, this is nepotism and all that stuff. It's just a part of big business. When you have the power, look, if I have kids I do have a daughter, but if they're in a position one day to be able to, if my daughter wants to work in television, I'm going to use every resource I have possible to make sure that she gets an opportunity. Yeah. So why would you not do the same for your kid? No matter what it is that they want to do, you should make sure your kids have the best opportunities
One person's
possible.
Nepotism is another person's taking care of their kid.
Exactly. Right. So, but it's from a basketball standpoint now, when you look at Bronny and just kind of that Lakers team, I think that this shows me a lot about where the Lakers are at right now too, right? Because I have a hard time believing they're in hardcore championship mode. I think they're in a mode right now where they have a superstar player like LeBron James, and they're taking care of him. And I think what they're doing is they're playing the long game. Because what they've done forever with the Lakers organization is they managed to keep their superstar, their legendary players happy. They do right by them. Like they did
Kobe.
with you who?
Hi, Kobe.
Yeah, like they did with Kobe Bryant. They pay him a lot of money in the years where he was no longer one of the more impactful players. And what did that do? That allowed them to be able to get LeBron James later, who helped them win another championship. They were able to get Anthony Davis traded there later because he wanted to be a part of the organization. When you pride yourself on being an organization that takes care of your star players, that's going to make more star players want to play there later. So even though they may next couple of years might not be serious championship contenders because LeBron James is 40, and they have a roster around him that's maybe not championship caliber, what that helps you do now is years down the road when someone like Giannis may be available and wants to come there. When another star player,
would be spicy.
that's just a name I'm naming. But I mean, just when another high-profile player may have an opportunity to come to LA, he may want to either sign there as a free agent or force himself to LA, knowing that that's an organization that does right by their stars.
Yep.
So,
all right.
Now to the story.
Now to the fun topic that we both want to talk about, because we're both super hyped for this video game.
Well, not just us. I mean, there's a whole nation of people that cannot wait for NCAA 25 to drop in less than a month. We can't wait. So get ready for a lot of these topics because we're going to have.
Because Scott and I are not going to shut up about this game.
No, we're not going to shut up about this game. So there's actually, I know we're talking about the best offenses here, right? I mean, that they're going to have because they've kind of been dropping things day to day as far as the top offenses and the top defenses that are going to be in the game, the highest rankings. So this is one yesterday. So I know we're going through offenses first because they have UGA, spoiler alert, they have UGA as their highest rated offense. But yesterday, here's something that sort of caught my eye here yesterday, where they have their toughest places to play as well. And we were sort of debating this yesterday. So let me give you a top five here. So we have Kyle Field at number 1, which is Texas A&M. Memorial Stadium, which I kind of debated with Alabama at number 2. I mean, I think Alabama's more so there's a tough team there. I never thought much about the environment. LSU Tiger Stadium, I'm not going to complain about that one. The Shoe, number 4, Ohio State. And number 5, Sanford Stadium, University of Georgia. So those are what they have rated as the top 5 places there. I've got our producer here showing us something here. This one? Oh, here's you? Good? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so you have those best offenses in front of you there, too, which was the original topic. Because I know they had UGA at number 1.
10 best offenses in order, top to bottom.
Okay.
UGA number 1. Oregon number 2.
I can see that.
Bama number 3. Texas Longhorns number 4.
Okay.
Ohio State Buckeyes number 5.
All right, Buck, come through, Buckeyes.
LSU number 6.
Okay.
Miami Hurricanes number 7.
That's interesting.
Colorado Buffaloes number 8.
Really?
My Missouri Tigers at number 9.
Yeah, Colorado number 8. Wow.
Clemson Tigers number 10.
Okay. I guess that's a fair list because when you consider Colorado kind of caught me by surprise, though. But, of course, they have Shedeur Sanders, who is expected to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So
and also Travis Hunter.
Exactly, Travis Hunter. I don't know how much – I wonder how much they're going to play him on offense this year. I don't know what they see him as a pro prospect, though, whether they see him as a receiver or a cornerback. I don't know where his highest rating is going to be, but he's going to be on the field a lot, So I can see that. But UGA at number 1, that's kind of interesting. They have a lot of guys who moved on to the league next year in the backfield and at tight end with Brock Bowers gone. And they lost a couple guys like McConkey at wide receiver. So that's a lot of confidence the game are giving Carson Beck, which they feel like probably because of him, they're the number 1 rated offense. But Colorado, like I said, is a little bit of a surprise. But what we're seeing, though, is kind of what we know about football is the teams with the better quarterbacks are presumed to have the better offenses moving forward.
Which, man, that's a lot of confidence in Brady Cook to put Mizzou at number 9.
I know that was kind of.
Let's go.
I knew that one was going to get you too. Mizzou, look, they surprised some teams last year, so it wouldn't surprise me this year.
Yeah, they surprised yours, didn't they?
Well, look, Ellie. I mean,
Mizzou alum, Ohio State alum. They played.
I don't like using excuses.
The bowl game.
Look,
Mizzou won. I am going to hold that over you until they play again. I'm not sorry.
I don't like using excuses, Ellie, but
come on.
That was like Ohio State's JV team playing against.
Oh, come on.
There are a lot of guys who didn't play. I'm just saying, Ellie. I mean, that's just for what it was. But no excuses.
Don't do this.
No excuses. I'm not going to use excuses, but that wasn't the true Ohio State.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'd love to run it back this year. I'd love to run it back. But these toughest places to play, though, I mean, it's like that was kind of interesting to me looking at that list, though. I mean, you have 3 Big Ten teams in that top 10 team. I'm a Big Ten, obviously.
Beaver Stadium at number 6, Penn State Stadium. I am surprised that is not higher.
Look, let me just tell you.
Because they keep using the Michigan.
We're getting wrapped up here.
They keep using the Michigan delay of game as like their big thing for.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's not higher.
The Mo Bamba thing?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, so you got those things, though. But look, let me tell you, they have Wisconsin at number 7 up in Canton. Let me tell you, I've covered going up to Madison on a Saturday night, going up to Madison, Wisconsin on a Saturday night is a tough environment. It's a tough football game. So don't sleep on that. I know this is SEC country, and so there's a lot of SEC, the focus around here is on SEC. But as someone who's covered the Big Ten, let me tell you, going up to Madison or going up to Beaver Stadium on a Saturday night when it's a whiteout and all those towels are going, or going up to Madison on a Saturday night is not an easy place to play.
All right, we're getting wrapped up. What's on your mind?
Not a whole lot, really just NBA draft stuff, and it'll be really interesting this offseason to see what more moves here. We have free agency starting next week. So this is really just the start of the NBA offseason, and I'm very excited.
What's on my mind is it's my dad's 60th birthday.
Oh,
so
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday to him.
Love you.
Happy
Can't
birthday.
wait to see you.
That's awesome.
As for us, I'm Ellie Parker for Scott Penningman. This has been Sports Tonight. See you next time.
We're going to get up out of here.